Uprisers, hi, it is Tricia LaCroix once again with Sacred Uprising Institute, Awakening the Consciousness of Infinite Love. And today we have Courtney Walsh. Courtney, she is a writer, author, and inspirational speaker. She wrote the book called Dear Human, and her Dear Human meme has been shared over 50 million times. So I'm excited about having Courtney join us today. In the meantime, I wanted to go over just a few announcements. In about an hour, we will have yet another video with our Lori, and she will be discussing the evolution of truth. So excited about having Lori come on. In addition to that, exciting news, we've talked about it last week and we're going to talk about it again. We have a conference coming up September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It is a Sacred Uprising conference. It is going to take place in Northern California, and Courtney is jumping on right now. So outside of Santa Cruz, it's about an hour outside of it. Look, hey, how are you? It's so good to see your face. Practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah, there we go.
So I'm just telling everybody about the conference that's going to be taking place in September 18th, 19th, and 20th in California. And very excited about it here. In about a week, we will have a place on hey, Lori, we'll have a place on our website that you can go to and you can register to take advantage of the early bird special. So I'll be making that announcement here probably by Thursday, just confirming when it'll be ready for people to sign up. So without further, I don't want to belabor, getting you here on the video and hearing what you have to say. I've been talking about, and I've read your Dear Human meme several times for our viewers. And I wanted us, hi Claudia, I wanted to see if we could just jump in, read it, because this is why I found you in 2013. That's how long you and I have known each other. And I've been very fortunate. I scheduled a couple of sessions with you to do readings, and which we had a great laugh the other day as I was telling you some of the things that you said and what actually she was right on point, people, right on point. So but the Dear Human, that's really what that opened the door for me to contact you, because it just stirred my soul. So did you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
You do it.
Okay, I'll read it. Okay, here we go. All right,
I always like to hear other people say it.
Okay. So, Dear Human, you've got it all wrong. You didn't come here to master unconditional love. That is where you came from and where you'll return. You came here to learn personal love, universal love, messy love, sweaty love, crazy love, broken love, whole love, infused with divinity, lived through the grace of stumbling, demonstrated through the beauty of messing up often. You didn't come here to be perfect. You already are. You came here to be gorgeously human, flawed and fabulous, and then to rise again into remembering. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I don't think anybody has ever in the history of man has ever said it so perfectly.
Thank you. Well, that's a lot of pressure. Right. How am I going to top myself now?
You can handle it. You can handle it. So I mentioned before, and I'm just going to mention again, that you're a writer, an author, an inspirational speaker. You've had an amazing career as a blogger and a social media figure and a professional speaker. This meme went viral and went been shared 15 million times, which is just so incredible.
Actually, it's up to over 100 million that we could track.
Oh my gosh, wow. It's amazing. It's so amazing. And to have you here is it's such a blessing. And then you have your book, which everybody, so you know her book, it'll be in the comments so you can order it. It is Dear Human. It was endorsed by Elizabeth Gilbert, who is also the author of Eat, Pray, Love. So Courtney, the floor is yours. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, it's been quite a journey with Dear Human, huh? And it did start pretty magically in 2012. And at the time I wrote it, I was pretty wildly in love, actually. And it started as a cyber thing, as many of my things do. And then we kind of decided we'd take it into the virtual, out of the virtual and into the real, which is a nice thing when you do that. It can be a nice thing. This was a nice thing. And he said, well, I'm going to fly you to Scotland, and we're going to go on like a 3-week date through the Highlands. And I said, okay, let's do that. Eat coffee at Starbucks any day.
Right.
So we did that, and it was amazing. And we were compatible in many, many ways, however, not romantically. So it was fine. But one of the things we did on our trip was we went to Findhorn, which is an incredibly magical place that I'd read about in the 80s. About they were praying over the gardens and getting zucchinis the size of a human person, and have all kinds of, you know, meditative and metaphysical miracles and all that. And so I had always been fascinated, and we went there and we heard this group called Anima, and they sang, and I'm telling you, it was angels, it was celestial, it was amazing and a magical evening. And of course, years later, that's who would be my publisher, was Findhorn Press. So,
really?
You know, yeah. So that, you know, I kept, you know, knocking on doors and trying to get it published and get it out there. And Findhorn was the one who picked it up. Now, they took it and ran with it and did their best. They were a small press. The sales were not great on the book. They did not even come close to the viral sensation that was the meme. So I've been kind of bouncing around the planet for the last 5 years, trying to get things going and momentum. And some of the people who know me know I bought an Airstream trailer that I'm going to be renovating and making into a tiny home. And that will be kind of a home base for me and give me flexibility and mobility if I want it, or just keep it parked somewhere and make it my writing she shed or something.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
That's
so the rights have just reverted back to me. It's also been translated into German. It's out in Germany now, which is cool. And so there's a talk about repackaging it and adding new content and re-releasing it and finding a new publisher for it. So, and going for round 2, because one of the things I love about it, it's taken me along for a ride for sure, on quite a journey. One of the things I love about it is it appeals to our side where we're perfectionists and we work so hard to achieve or produce or be some kind of version of perfect.
Right.
Instead of, like, we're always reaching and striving for our divinity, which is awesome. It's great. It's transcendental. It's blissful. It's all these magical, wonderful things. But we neglect oftentimes, or at least I will speak for myself, I've neglected my humanity in the process, and all my spiritual searching and seeking and going to gurus and going to the mountaintop and going to the cave and going in, all that stuff. My humanity has been my saving grace. It isn't the meditation or the new agey stuff that's all great and it's wonderful, and, you know, no slamming any of that. Hi, Claudia. Yes, this is my sacred uprising. She's right about that. I love it. I love the name of your network too, by the way. It's very cool. So yeah, your humanity, the messy stuff, the slimy, icky, gross, you know, weird, awkward, bloated,
the parts of ourselves that nobody slow claps for, right?
Yeah, and we don't put on Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. We have no filters for it.
Put the highlight reel up and the gorgeous polished everything. We don't put the zits and the hairs and the gray hairs and the fluffy, frizzy, you know. So here it is. So I believe that actually the sexiest and most beautiful and powerful part of us is that part that we hide and that we don't share with the world, and the part that we fear and the part that we judge. And so I feel that humanity's up-leveling and uprising is through our humanity itself, and through our messiness, and through our crazy, and through our eccentricity, and our goofy, and our fun, and our falling down and not getting it and trying to figure it out and wondering and being weird and being all like intuitive and knowing shit and then being totally fucked up and wrong. Sorry.
No, please. We're, like we said, we're messy and we're real here, okay?
We're messy, we're real, we're authentic. We just rolled out of bed. So to me, the humanity, the part that gets so neglected, so, you know, don't have big, messy, loud feelings. Control yourself. Look, you know, polished and perfect. Be the super mom or whatever who's got the carpool of 1 million kids and doesn't lose her mind. Or be the guy who's the provider and puts the bread on the table and doesn't, you know, pushes himself so hard that he gets a heart attack at 50. Like, that doesn't work, guys. It doesn't.
Right.
It's not sustainable anyway for the workaholism, the perfectionism, the, you know, the pain that we cause ourselves, the grief, and then we kind of pocket it into, we call it anxiety or depression, and we make it clinical, and it's really pretty much essence. It's more spirit, it's more energy than it is mental. And so that's where a lot of us, myself included, I mean, I say I need this stuff more than anyone. That's why it came to me and through me, is I need it the most.
Right.
Okay?
Isn't that the way it happens?
Absolutely.
We have to teach what we learn.
100%. That's the way it works for me, and it always has. I always get the lessons first, and then I walk and live them out.
Yeah, you know. One of our teachers, she's going to be on here after you. She calls us spiritual scientists, and that's really what I love, that because we have to learn it. We have to prove it in our own lives before we can teach it. Yeah,
I'm not so into spirit languaging or scientific languaging these days, because to me that's all energy and form.
Yes.
And it's boxes and categories and its limitations. So I respect that definition. I understand what you're saying. We could call ourselves voyagers, pioneers, indigos, you know, warriors, goddesses, fairies of the light. We could call ourselves demonic, shamanic, whatever, you know, la, 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 but we're human. At the end of the day, that's what we are. You know, we may come from alien DNA, we may have hybrid stuff going on, but you can't get the planet to be human and to live that journey and to walk that experience and to embody and embrace all of it. At least I did. I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah, that's what I absolutely thought. Right. We're all having that human journey. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I actually feel like there are beings through the multiverse who are lining up trying to get a body, trying to use energy and light that we have. We're like food for, you know, other dimensional entities and realities, but that's a whole other shtick and spiel. We'll save that for another, but that's a whole other go ranting and that. We'll keep it human for here for now.
Right. I love it.
Yeah. So your book, Dear Human, talk a little bit about that. What is it? Yeah. You know, we have the premise of the meme that went around, but talk to me a little bit further about it. So so there's a little piece of a story based on the version of the meme that you have, that most people have, that doesn't have the last 2 or 3 lines, which is
I noticed that this one, once I printed it and I read it, I'm like, wait, there's something missing.
There's something missing, and I think it's something about, you know, it's enough, it's plenty, or whatever, meaning that we never feel enough, and or we always feel like we're not enough or we're too much, and so again, that's a spin conundrum or a paradox or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Call it the clusterfuck of the wearing a body.
Right.
Which is a magical, miracle, mystical, you know, system and biological creation in itself, and it's a wonderful thing. It gets short shrift. So I don't know. What was your question? Bring me back around, because I'll just go off in space. You gotta keep me focused.
Courtney, here.
Right here.
Tell me about your book.
The book, the book is obviously a topic that is a confusing personal topic for me, and slightly individually painful. So I'll go into it. I'll go there. I had high hopes for the book. You know, it's endorsed by Elizabeth Gilbert and Ariel Ford, who's amazing, and these incredible high-level people sort of shared it or retweeted the meme. And so the book just kind of fell flat on its face, and I'm going to use the F word, the failure word. And the reason I say that is I know the meme was a wild, wild, crazy, unexpected, unimaginable, magical success. The book, I barely made $600 on in 5 years. So I've been battling homelessness for 5 years. I'll get emotional here. Because I put my whole heart and soul and spirit and energy and belief into that book. Because everybody kept saying, you've got to tell me more about this. These are amazing concepts. I want you to break them down. I want you to roll them out. I want you to go deeper. And I did. And I poured my guts on the page, and nobody wanted to read it. Or it wasn't the right timing, you know. And maybe the world wasn't ready. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe the material isn't just resonating for whatever reason. But, I feel like it's the kind of thing that can help in schools where there's shootings and there's bullying and there's women who are having, midlife crises, or men who are having breakdowns. I have so many friends who are like, oh my God, so-and-so had to go to rehab because whatever, or somebody had a breakdown because of whatever, or somebody had a divorce, or somebody had a death in the family, or whatever, Dear Human is the answer. It's the panacea. It's the one shot one-stop, you know, answer. Like, embrace your humanity, embrace your humanity. It doesn't matter what it is. It's been read in funerals and yoga studios. It's great for the Hollywood peeps who are, you know, finding their way in their identity. It's great for little kids who are, you know, you can boil it down for them of just be yourself. And what does that mean? I don't know which one, you know. You know, it has a multi-dimensional message. Yeah.
Yeah,
it has
so
a lot
it's about absolute total acceptance for oneself and loving all the broken parts. One thing that I've learned is that it's in what we don't say. That's where our truth lies. Because what we say, we already have the story already set there, and we can perform whatever it is that we do say. But it's in those quiet moments that what we don't say, that's where our truth is. Yeah. And you have to learn to even love those places.
Oh my God. Well, I came out, you know, of the crazy closet years ago when I wrote my first book, which was Lipstick and Thongs in the Loony Bin. I got some TV interview play for that. And that was about a suicide attempt and a recovery from that. And then, you know, it sort of builds. And then there was one called Squeezing the Stars that was kind of material that everybody saw on Facebook and was like, please put it all in one thing. Okay, put it all in one thing. And then Dear Human, which was, you know, kind of my love letter to the world, and my heart is kind of really out there. So I haven't given up on it. I have to kind of reframe and catch my breath and hit the pause button. And actually, I don't see it as a failure. I see it as a delayed success.
Yeah, so and you know what, and it could be, Courtney, is that number one, I know it's touched my life, just the meme itself, and the book. I have the book, and it's touched my life. It has brought me to where I am today. So on a human level, it's a success. But I understand it might be what leads you to something even more spectacular, more beautiful, and quite frankly, maybe it wasn't promoted the way it needed to be. Because I sit there and if you guys have not friended Courtney Walsh, please go and do that, because she's real. I like you put it all out there. It's messy. It is authentic. It is beautiful. You are the wildflower. You are not a rose in a garden. You are the freaking wildflower that is there. And some may look at it and go, that's a weed, but you know what? That's you labeling. It's a flower. It is. I
have to tell you what I'm wearing right now.
What's that?
It's a woman who is a friend of mine, just recently passed. Her name was Dorothy Souza Dottie. Called her Mama Dot sometimes, and she was kind of she was a very mystical being. Well, her store is closing. She had like a new age shop and a little church and all kinds of tchotchkes and candles and angels and books and crystals, and I would go there and just hang out with her, and we'd have great chats, and she was very nurturing energy. I went to her wake recently, and there were all kinds of magical people there and a few muggles here and there and everything. But so it was like a matriarch in the community passed. So I went to her store yesterday with a friend, and who I'd been to the first store. She's had 2 or 3 locations over the years. We never knew how she was staying open or how she was making a buck, but she always managed to keep it open. And in her way, she touched many, 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 many thousands of lives. But so I went to the shop and I found this, and I just thought it was cool. Like, it looked like a kind of like a little crystal ball or whatever, but it's got a wish seed in it, like a little dandelion.
Oh, for dandelion seed?
Yeah. And so I resonate with the dandelion. I am not an orchid. I am not a hothouse rose. I am the wild thing that grows through the concrete.
Right. Yeah. That's what you are. That's, the essence of who you are. So this is my
make-a-wish for up-leveling into
for an uprising. If there's one thing you want people to know about this book, not and I mean a truth within the book, what is it that you want to just rip your heart, the chest of your heart open to show everybody? The one thing that you wrote about that resonates with you, that is your soul.
That everything we've been taught and conditioned and programmed and learned about love on this planet is dead fucking wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it's not that I'm saying that in this arrogant way of I have all the answers and I know what's right, but I know where the programming is and where it's led us. And then you peel it back and peel it back and peel it back, and you go back to the core and the essence and the truth. And again, that's a relative word and very sticky one, but you go back to the wisdom of the ages, which is that love is a gift. It's not an obligation. It's not an obligation. It's not a should. It's not a must. It's not a have to, it's a get to, it's a privilege, it's a joy, it's a pleasure, it's a wonder, and it's magnificent. And love is an energy, but relating is a skill. So intimacy takes is the part that has the effort and the part that has the, you know, tearing down your walls, doing your shadow shit and all that. But the love is the effortlessness, the essence, the, we'll say, you know, the magic of life. And it's the fabric and all this other stuff. I got into a great discussion with a friend of mine recently about all the things it is and isn't. And we complicate it so much.
We do.
We make it so much harder than it really is. It's the most pure. You hold an infant, you look in their face, you know, you feel it. You know, people, some people with their dogs or their cats, they feel it. There is no need for all this vocabulary and filters and layers and words and verbal diarrhea about what it is or what it isn't or how to apply it or how to use it. That's up here. Right. That's not real. That's the illusion. Right. That's the distortion. That's the confusion, the chaos. It's only when you drop it down that you feel it and you emanate it and you radiate it that it becomes real. Right. So everything we've been taught in movies, for example, or poetry or songs, it's all great, but it's the popular version of it. It's the flashy, glamorous, sexy version of it.
The marketing version, right.
The marketed, heavily conditioned program version of it. It's not really what it is. You got to strip all that away and come back to what it is. And that's where you have peace. That's where you have great connections with other people. That's where you create in a, you know, very flowing, loving, juicy manner without just producing. Because I can get into that mode too. I could just be 24/7 channeling, and I have to have a lot of step back from it and go, whoa, you know, that's a little too much information, you know?
Right.
Let's just breathe. Let's all take a breath here. And you can get manic with it. You can get crazy. You can get frenetic and scattered and all that. So then you just bring it back in. And that's, to me, the human part of our divinity is the part that lives on, is the part that's immortal. We get that backwards too. We think the flesh decays and it declines and it becomes ash and dust again. But it's only our human stories woven together, our human connections, our human moments that mean anything.
Right.
That's the whole enchilada. You know, that's it. That's the whole, and everything else we kind of, we let fear run the show. We let other people's opinions or ideas or our, you know, chaos or worries or money stuff or illness or, you know, like just life, what we think of as human life. But that's really your divinity expressing again as your humanity. And they are soulmates. They have to work together as a team. You can't just go off and transcend and become a god and walk on water and everything's great. And, you know, now you're going to live forever and you're going to always look 32. That's fucking bullshit. I'm sorry. That's bullshit.
I love you.
That's totally a distraction and a lie and an illusion. Now, that said, we can be the healthiest, most youthful, most vibrant, most energetic, most connected and flowing version of ourselves that we came here to be. And we don't have to plug into chaos, decline, conflict, tension. We don't have, those are programs, those are overlays. But if you think you're avoiding yourself and you're going to skate through all that and pretend and act, you're going to really suffer and you're going to cause suffering for others.
Right.
But if you kind of admit your vulnerability and get into that, whatever authenticity is for you, and give your heart to the planet over and over again, you just keep giving it. That's, to me, so much more powerful and beautiful than a lot of the stuff we are spinning our wheels on lately. Oh, and I mean, we, the human race, all of us.
Right. Yeah, as a collective.
So the book is a seed. The book is a little blow it in the wind and let it catch. Like, you know, I have to stop comparing it to the meme because it's going to do its own thing. It's already on its own path and journey. And I don't know, the failure word doesn't resonate for me about the book. I feel like it's a delayed success. And I feel like it will, whether it's a cult classic and it catches over time, like Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life, which started as that little blue pamphlet that she was handing out in the gym to the guys with, or, you know, and then she's printing them in her basement with her mom and the church. And, you know, that whole story I love because a book can have many, many incarnations and iterations.
Well, you know what's interesting is that the meme it really is the poster board that we walk down the streets and say, you know, dear human. But the book is about doing the actual work.
Thank you. That nobody's ever framed it so beautifully.
They don't want to do.
It's like, hey, let's